Before we get started, we just kind of wanted to tackle some things that we discussed in the previous workshop, okay?
Yep. So first of all, I just want to talk about, have you guys been getting the emails that we've been sending before? Okay, we'll add you to that list, definitely. The reminders and the follow-up emails, right? Have they been helpful at all?
Yep.
Yeah, right. So, like I said, after every workshop, we're going to send you guys a follow-up email with a document and maybe like a short video for the next workshop just to help you guys prepare. Now, as a reminder, the worksheets we send you in the email, they're not mandatory for you guys to do. You guys don't have to do them. The only thing that is mandatory is that you guys are here and you guys are participating in the rapid tank in the workshops. The worksheets are there just to help you get more from the workshop. So like next week, we're going to have a lawyer come in, Miss Lynn Perry Parker, 2 lawyers actually, and we're going to send you guys a worksheet about that just so you can get more out of that workshop. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Okay.
Awesome. Now, before we get into our workshop for today, I wanted to let you know that the worksheets that we had sent you guys last week that would be important for this week, did anybody print them out? Good to know. Okay. So, just in case you hadn't, I figured that would be the case. We do include those worksheets to help you out. Once Ms. Vail over here, and we'll have a chance to introduce her properly in a second, once she finishes, we will have those worksheets that we recommended for you for today. We will not have basically the small pamphlet for the lawyer workshop next week, but I wanted you all to have a chance to look at what it looks like. So we printed out a copy for that as well. If you want to get a better look at it, we'll have it up front when we're done with the workshop today. But again, it'll be in your email, okay?
And in addition to that, I also invited all of you guys to our Google Calendar. Did everyone get an invite? Just no? No. We'll add you to that.
We'll add you to everything.
Yep, so basically that will add our workshop dates, which is every Wednesday, as well as the rehearsal date and the event day. I will be changing the time for the event day from 3 to 6:30, and you'll get a notification of that because we need you to be there a little earlier just to be prepared.
Right.
It doesn't start till 4 for their friends, but we need you there for 4.
Right, yeah. And last bit of housekeeping, are you guys all in the GroupMe chat? Okay, make sure if you guys are not to join that so that you can have easy access to us, and we can, like, if you guys have a quick question, we can answer it right on the spot, and you don't have to open up any emails. Okay.
With the things that we're talking about right now, if you're not a part of the email, a part of GroupMe, you're not getting the invitations, see one of us after the workshop. We'll make sure to get you squared away, okay?
Yep.
And please make sure you're checking your junk boxes. It's coming from a Gmail address, so see Raptortank at Gmail. Sometimes your computer might be filtering it out.
Yep. Okay.
Awesome.
All right.
Okay. So, without further ado.
Yes.
Great. Thank you all for having me. Thank you, Hannah. My name is Polly Vail, and I'm an entrepreneur. I have been an intrapreneur, and I'm also a mentor for students at the University of Maryland College Park, and also for the incubator in Bethesda Green, which was founded by the founder of Honest Tea, Seth Goldman. They focus on green businesses. And actually, there is a professor from Maryland who is one of the entrepreneurs there. So I see the range of businesses, from professionals who are raising a lot of money to students who are often making money with their businesses as students or have ideas. My approach, because I've been in business my whole life, is to help whomever I'm talking to be very practical. The idea stage, ideation, coming up with ideas for your business is a great place to start. And the first stress test is what is called a SWOT. It is not scientific, and it is definitely not a one and done. A SWOT can be used for any kind of big decision, actually a personal decision, a business decision, and it's a framework for stress testing an idea and how to tweak. It is not a go, no-go decision tree type of decision-making process where you start eliminating things, but it enables you to see where you are in the spectrum of ideas that are like yours. So without further ado, first of all, I did want to tell you that I've got a nice list of the businesses that you're considering and want to make this very relevant to you. So the way I thought we would go through today, and I know we don't have a lot of time, is to first of all define SWOT so that it works for you, makes sense for you, and you remember it. Use a couple of examples especially from a book that I really recommend. It's a book about side hustles. This is an author, and I'll pass this around to you afterwards, and I'll give it to Hannah. Very practical book, really great ideas about people who have started businesses with $50, $25, and actually a couple of them are along the lines of the businesses that you have all said that you're interested in starting. So they're good ways to learn from other people. There really is nothing new under the sun, and finding resources for understanding the real values of your businesses and the things that could cause you to hit potholes is a great way for you to proceed. So we'll do that, and then we will also have time, hopefully, for what I would call a lightning round for you to go through your businesses and where you think some of the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats are, or to allow your classmates to come up with what they think are some strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So the first key thing is that there's a difference between the internal and the external. So strengths, opportunities, weaknesses, and threats. You first want to separate out from your business what are the things you can control. Those are the internal to your business versus the things that you really can't control. Those are things that are outside the realm of your business. So some examples of things that you could control are your company culture, your reputation, your customer list, your geography, your staff, and I will have leave behind, so I can give these to you, partnerships, intellectual property, and assets, hard assets. Things that you can't control, but that totally affect your business, and you need to track them and measure them, and put them into your thinking and put a price tag next to them. Regulation, suppliers, competitors, the economy, the size of the market, the trends, your financing, and even, not kidding, the weather. So how do you do a SWOT? Is it something where you go off into a room by yourself, you look things up online? You definitely are the CEO of your business. You are where the buck stops with accountability. So you should do a lot of digging and you should drive your own SWOT. But a SWOT well done is really a guiding tool, and it's great to start with a team of people who you trust, who you can bounce ideas off of. So those can be other students. They can be people who are knowledgeable about the business area that you are in. They can definitely be professors. Definitely do your own research. But gathering the right people is step one. Step two is to actually host a brainstorming session. A SWOT is not a passive type of project. It's not going to happen. All these things no one's going to send you an email saying, here are your strengths, here are your weaknesses, here are the threats, here are the opportunities. It's up to you to unearth all of these, to unearth the grid, and to have it be as accurate as it can possibly be. Because these are your assumptions. And a business does start with assumptions, but then stress testing the assumptions is how you're going to make sure that you don't lose money, lose time, lose your shirt, and how you make money and how you thrive and succeed. So here are some kinds of questions for that you would start with your strengths. What are we good at? What do we do better than anybody else? What is our competitive advantage? What resources do we have at our disposal? What are our e-commerce advantages? What advantages do our employees have? Remember, we're on strengths right now. These are things you can control. What valuable assets does our company have? And what do our customers like about our business? That last one, what do our customers like about our business, I would prioritize. Having customer feedback is really money in your bank. You've got to be, your business is all about having your customer be delighted. So knowing what your customer thinks of you is way more important than what you think of you. Your own thought about your own, what you thought your business was going to be good at when you started is, a set of one. But when you start hearing from your customers, that's the relationship, that's the feedback that you want. Then you need to be really honest with some of the things and you will have weaknesses. If you don't have a list on your weaknesses part, then you're not asking the right people, you're not digging deep enough, you might not be far enough along in your business, but every business has weaknesses. It's not bad. You just have to know what they are. You can't have blind spots. So what are we not good enough at yet? What do our competitors do better than we do? Every business has competitors, and understanding your competitor's advantage and what your competitor is doing is going to make you really smart. And it should be fun. You picked a business because you like it, you like the idea, you should like the customers, you should like the problem solving that you're doing. So knowing what your customers do better, or what how you're going to be better than them, should be something that's really you have a strong curiosity about, and that gets you kind of fired up. What do our customers complain about? You really need to care about that, and you need to have an answer for how you're going to solve that problem. What are the disadvantages of our team? Maybe I can think of a lot of disadvantages for a team. You might not have the right mix of talent. You might not have the right mix of people who are on-site versus virtual. You might not be able to pay people well enough, so you're really stressing on how are you going to keep the team together. You might have stresses on how you're going to share the profits going forward. There might be interpersonal issues. These are all super important. And what resources are we lacking? Every business lacks resources. They lack financial resources. They lack the right amount of real estate. Being honest with your weaknesses in that area. What resources are you lacking? And then understanding what are you legitimately going to do to get over that problem? How big a problem is it on a scale of 1 to 10? Is it going to be a make or break for you? If it is, you need to know that. And you need to either pivot and spend all your time and your focus going after resources, hit the brakes a little on your business, or you are going to get into a situation where your first impression is not a good impression, which, as we all know, is not a good thing to do. So those are the things that you can control, right? Strengths and weaknesses. And I would recommend that you go through those in a brainstorming fashion on the business that you like. And give it time and have it be something that's very fruitful. Then the external business factors that could affect your business in a positive way. And the question is, how do you leverage these? What potential regulations could help our business? How is the market changing in a favorable way? Is the current economy going to affect us in a positive way? What opportunities have we not pursued yet? And what opportunities are becoming available? How about the price of our costs of goods? Are they going down or are they going up? If they're going down, that's a good thing. Is there a way for us to acquire useful resources that we don't already have? So notice this SWOT is all asking questions. This isn't a list. This isn't a to-do list. This isn't a checklist. This is a list of questions. You're in curiosity mode. So threats, again, external. Who are our existing competitors and how big a threat are they? Are there new entrants into the market? Is our market size declining? Is the industry changing in a way that could negatively impact our businesses? Is our cost of goods going up? Is the supply we rely on becoming scarce? Are there regulations that could threaten us? And is our manufacture unreliable? So those are all things you'd have to worry about. Those are your sleep not so well at night ideas. So after you go through these questions, brainstorm with people who you trust who can give you good feedback, now you're going to really narrow the list and do your own, fill in the blanks. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities? What are your threats? Pull it all together, prioritize it, and then get a game plan for moving forward. It should help you kind of reset where you are. You should learn a lot, and you might be thinking, gosh, I was really in a little bit of a dreamland, thinking that I was a little farther ahead than I was. That is typically where entrepreneurs start, and that's okay. As long as when you reset, you can also pivot and keep moving, find a way to move forward. So a couple of examples one example, and then we can get to your businesses. Through this book, The Side Hustle, and I don't know how to pronounce the author's name, but he actually is a prolific writer. He has you can join his community, you can get emails from him, you can look at other books. But there was one business in here that I thought, first of all, there is a college textbook flip business in here, which is they write a little case story. And then there's one that I thought might be fun to talk about as an example for a SWOT, which is a business that was started in Portland, Oregon, with $3,000. It now generates $8,000 a month. And it is a cookie baking business. It's called AfterDarkCookies.com in Portland, Oregon. And it was started by a couple who were late at night, really hungry, and they just really didn't want pizza. And they really wanted cookies. And they decided that there were probably other people around Portland that wanted cookies. They're very good cookie makers, so they started a baking business where they would deliver to people at night. So what could go wrong, right? Some strengths. The reason I picked this is that it is such an individual idea, driven by, that moment, that pain point, and also, we can do this. But there are also, I think, some strengths and some SWOT parts in the grid that maybe we could all together come up with some of the strengths and weaknesses of their idea that they could control, and what are some of the opportunities and threats that would be outside their control. And so, does anybody have any strengths and weaknesses that they think for a nighttime delivery of chocolate chip cookies in Portland, Oregon. Portland, Oregon doesn't really matter. It could be in any town. So what do you think are some of the strengths of the idea?
So it's just them delivering the cookies, or do they have like a staff that delivers?
Okay, so this is they thought of this on their couch watching TV at night, hungry. So then they decided they would get into the business.
So it's just them.
That's where they started.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's a really good point. So what would they need to control how many, like, can 2 people do this? Right. So that is would you consider that a strength or a weakness?
A weakness, because if demand grows, it's just the 2 of them.
So I would say team. Any other strengths or weaknesses you can think of? Yeah.
You said they were already like good at baking cookies, so that's just one of the things already good at.
Strength.
Quality, I guess.
Probably really good cookies, right? Okay, go ahead.
Everyone loves cookies.
Everyone loves cookies. Exactly. Like, it's a good idea. People love cookies. People buy a lot of cookies. I brought you some background on these cookie companies that make billions of dollars. Cookies are a thing. People love them. They eat them. There's a big demand. So I would say demand. Yeah.
Is it a city?
Portland is a city.
So a lot of people like to usually get takeout, and not a lot of bakeries usually stay up late at night, so that wouldn't be a strength.
So a strength is that probably no service for that yet. It was there's a void in the market that could be filled. Exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah, go ahead.
Because they do not have traffic.
Good one. You can actually deliver because it's at night. Right. You don't get the gridlock, so the warm cookies are going to stay warm. Yeah.
Going back to demand, I feel like that would be the weakness because first it is hard to identify what type of people want cookie at night. And also it is really bad for your health, and which is like part of a trend right now where, they want to pursue more healthy products.
So one weakness might be, okay, if one person calls and they want one cookie, is that a business that you could sustain? So that's a really good point. Like, how much can you make delivering small quantities of cookies? So that's a really perceptive point. The health thing, let's assume there's demand. People who aren't going to eat a cookie aren't going to order it. It's not going to appeal to everybody. Pizza's not so healthy either, and they're competing against pizza. Yeah.
Is the company open 24/7 or solely at night?
Well, yeah, they're so that's a good point. They did end up delivering at different times a day. They started at night, and that is the name of their business, but they did end up delivering cookies at different times of the day. So yeah, good. That was a good idea. That's where they would go with it, right? Like, how do you grow? Yeah.
I guess if the demand is too high, they might not have enough money to distribute all of the cookies.
Right. So what happens if all of a sudden, there's a big basketball game and everybody goes home at the same time and everyone's kind of hungry at the same time and they get a flood of orders and they can't meet the demand and people are kind of mad and then they're not going to. So how do they deal with the fluctuating demand? Yeah.
I think another strength is that owners don't have to quit their jobs. They can work and do this business simultaneously.
So staffing, how do you staff? If you knew how many orders you were going to get, you could probably staff and you could probably delegate, but that's an issue. Yeah.
I feel like cost of production is another huge strength. It doesn't cost much to make cookies, and you can sell them at a good price.
Right. So it's you can get your goods.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else on strengths and weaknesses? Yeah.
Could distance be possible weakness, like a strength? Because what happens if they're like on the other side of the city?
Right. Drive time. How do you say? Pizza companies say if we don't deliver by a certain amount of time, your pizza's free. So how do they handle that? Yeah.
going back to profitability, I would think that's a weakness because the labor cost for deliver versus the cost of cooking, the ratio is gonna be very unbalanced, and that's gonna probably hurt the demand as well.
So that's a really good point, which I'm going to get into now. Some external. You can probably find some space on the board because so they're baking. Who's delivering, right? So is that something that they can control?
Yep. The delivery, yeah.
They can.
Not the demand, but they can the delivery.
They can control the delivery. So one of the first business decisions that this company would have is who is going to be the delivery service that they use.
Yeah,
right?
I'm guessing they can also set a ratio, a radius.
Are they going to be their own delivery service, or are they going to be on a Grubhub, or are they going to be on an Uber Eats? And then, so someone has to do that analysis, right? And they bake cookies. So one thing is they're going to have to learn about that. And they are going to have to then set up contracts with these people. And sometimes those don't go that well. Like, you know, these food delivery companies have now started to really renegotiate and started to get kind of greedy. Now they have, like, customers like McDonald's. They're like, okay, you know, I can charge whatever I want. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it might be another weakness, the constant availability that they would have to do with their time. I mean, do you think people will say they want cookies at night next week, or do you think they want them, like, right now, tonight? So times are going to be fast and they're going to be slow, and you have to be ready for a demand.
Right. So those are two different business models, right? Like, you got to be, if somebody orders for a week in advance, which was actually one of the first things that happened, they got a call or somebody on their website who lived in Atlanta and wanted to have something delivered to, this woman wanted to have something delivered to her son in Portland. So she looked up, desserts delivered at night or Portland desserts, whatever came up on Google search, and it came up, and she's like, aha, I have a business that is not just local. I have a gift business, and I have a business where people are going to order in advance for events. So that was a learning moment for her. And they kind of would like to be in that business, right? Because then they can control, they know that they can get ready for next Wednesday. Today. It's a little harder if you get a call at 11 at night and someone wants something there in an hour and you didn't know that. So that became a pivot actually for them. Let's do that. Let's promote ourselves for more events that you can plan in advance. So what would be some other external factors that they couldn't control completely, but they'd have to understand. Yeah.
Well, maybe like people have already got cookies from the store in like a big amount. It's like, they could get a Chips Ahoy or an Oreos somewhere and just already have them stocked up.
Right. So that's the good news is people love cookies. The bad news is there are cookies everywhere. And there are places, there's 7-Elevens, there are places at night, but they're not homemade cookies. But what do you think? Can anybody just set up a baking business and not have regulators look at them? You can't actually do that. You have to, people care, regulators care if your kitchen is clean. If you have cats running around in your kitchen, then you get points off. They care that your products are safe and healthy. They care that nothing happens in that car where something unsafe is delivered. So the regulation of setting up a commercial kitchen puts them into, that's a real thing. They can't control that, and that gets expensive. What are some other things beyond their control? What about some of the marketing costs and things? Yeah.
Some people might suddenly like to eat cake instead of cookies, and since they only sell cookies, and they wouldn't sell that much.
Right. So that actually would be a pivot I would make. Like that's it. The cookies are kind of a thin margin, but a cake in advance. And I do know a bakery called a Piece of Cake in Atlanta that ships all over the world, and they make these delicious cakes, and it's an incredible bakery story. Bakery stories really are pretty neat. They have great founder stories to them. What about marketing and website and go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted you.
I was just gonna say, maybe the prices of gas go up, and then your delivery costs are now almost double. And then
right.
What are you gonna charge if who's gonna buy $20 a cookie?
Right.
So
exactly. That's a really good one. Something where a price went way up. Right. What about somebody sees that you're doing well selling cookies, a bakery that's already in town, and they're like, we'll do that. Competition, there's no real barrier to entry in this business. Competition can come in right away and eat your cookies, right? Yeah.
So in terms of marketing, because this is not, it's technically not a retail business, right? So
it is not a retail business.
So they'll mainly rely on website where it's almost like a real-time website where the order comes and goes back in. It's not like they use a certain platform that already exists. So it's going to be quite a lot of money to develop that. And on top of that, in terms of advertising, they would have to use Google SEO mostly, I would assume. And for SEO, like, no one's going to search up keyword like late night cookie, right? So,
right.
Yeah.
So I looked up how to start a home-based cookie business, and some of the starting with the overview: state and local laws and rules, big. Local zoning and business license requirements. So not only do you have a commercial kitchen has to be at grade, but your neighborhood might not have zoning for you to run a business. Why would they care that you're running a business out of your kitchen? They care. It's a tax issue. They care. Those things can be binary, and if you don't understand them, you are really in trouble with the IRS. Getting a business license, a permit, and then there are some other things that you would do, getting your name, your website, a separate bank account, etc. Finding customers, where to sell, packaging and labels, delivery and shipping. What about customer complaints? So one of the stories that they tell in this book is they wanted them delivered at late at night. So they were like, they got to the house at midnight. Like, well, do I just leave the cookies there on the front step? What if it starts raining after you leave, or what if somebody steals the cookies? Like, home delivery businesses have actually kind of a lot of risks. Amazon loses a lot of money with theft. I don't know if you are all aware of that, but it's a really, really big deal. It's like, oh, I'll just deliver it to your house. Well, people aren't there. There are dogs. There's weather. There's theft. And so all of those are external forces that are beyond your control that can really hurt your business, because people are going to review you and they're going to say, yeah, well, it didn't really work out. I didn't really get what I thought. So we have 15 minutes left, and we can talk about, first of all, any others on this? Any other? Yeah.
I was going to say that how much money are they making back from selling them to buying the ingredients?
Right. So margins are thin. Margins are thin. There's actually as many costs that go into this business as there would be to any, same list of things you have to do, but how much can you actually sell those cookies for? So, big orders for weddings, for bar mitzvahs, for things like that, ends up being a pretty good pivot. Yeah.
I have a question. You mentioned zoning regulations, and I wanted to ask, so it's not allowed to open home bakery if you house in a residential area?
So it depends, but there are you need to know what the zoning laws are, and you can't just assume, because residential neighborhoods are often zoned for no businesses, because it's just easier to say no than to say, well, this kind of business would be okay, that kind of business wouldn't be okay. So that tends to be a binary thing, and you can't really overlook it.
A realtor can tell you.
Yeah.
A realtor can tell you if it's, you could do a
Yeah,
out your house.
and you can look it up, or you can. So, should we go around and you guys talk about your businesses, or should we pick one? So another one from the side hustle was textbook sales. I noticed that there are 2 textbook businesses here. Are they still alive? The idea of reselling textbooks and the idea of migrating textbooks to online?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to talk about that?
Okay, so we talk about the strengths and weaknesses of it?
Yeah.
And about what it is.
Yeah, so do you have a name for your business?
Yeah, it's okay. So it's called Fast Book MC.
Fast Book?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Fast Book MC, and it's basically a software that allows students of MC to sell books to each other. Because I mean, a lot of people rely on buying books online, and that can be a problem because it can either take too long to ship, and you can also save money by this because someone might have a book lying around and it's probably just not going to be sold at all. But with this app, they can use it to just quickly sell it to someone else in the college, and that's going to be really good for them because they can earn money and get rid of something they don't need in their house, and it can also benefit someone else.
So there's a textbook business in here, and it's a good idea because there is always a supply and there's always a demand.
Yeah.
And the other reason is, I mean, it's in the category of a business called a flip business, where you buy it low and you sell it high. Some people do that, and they go to consignment stores, and they're like, oh, I know that belt with that belt buckle is not $5. I can get $50 for that. I know eBay, I can do that. Some people go to Walmart, and they will buy regular products at bulk at a deep, deep, deep discount, and they sell them on their own Amazon account or their own eBay account, and they make money. It's called a flip business. You buy it low, you sell it high. So the textbook business, these guys have made a lot of money. They invested $20, and they made $70,000 in 2 years. So one of the things that they did is they didn't just sell to students on their own campus. They looked up on Amazon, and Amazon sales charts, what textbooks were selling. I don't know if it's Biology 101 by Prentice Hall, edition 630. I have no idea what the textbooks are that are selling really well, but they figured it out because Amazon has that listed. And they went on eBay and they started buying those books up and selling them because students don't know the value of this asset and they really want to get rid of it. So they're like, I think I can make $20. I'm going to put this one textbook on eBay. And so these guys went and they hit the bids right away because they knew what they could buy them for, they knew what they could sell them for, and they just cranked it. And they make a lot of money. Now, it takes some time, takes some research, but the strengths are huge demand, huge supply, and you can do it yourself, right? You don't own the inventory. You don't have anything sitting around. It's a pure move it along play. Yeah.
So I just want to add that we are planning to do first in MC because according to our app, so we're like if you're studying in Stanford, okay, so you're gonna choose the University of Stanford, and you're gonna choose their own people that are selling the books over there. So you're gonna buy it, and you're gonna sell in between them. So we are gonna take some money of what they are selling, so we don't do like almost anything.
So another, I mean, you raise a really good point, which is you don't want to buy up too many textbooks and not be able to sell them, right? So if you buy a bunch of Biology 101 Prentice Hall Volume 3, published in 2018, and all of a sudden biology professors all across the country start going to Pearson instead, and there's no market for that, and you own a lot of those textbooks, that's kind of a problem for you. You spent a lot of money, now you own something that has no value. So for you to know for sure that there is a market out there is smart. You're not putting any capital at risk. It's good, and see how it goes. And you might decide that there are other things that you can sell, that you can buy from Montgomery College students that you can sell to the students also. That idea of buying low, selling high, pretty good business idea. Yeah.
Well, your guys' idea is not to own any books, though. It's just to be the pass-through, right?
Yeah. You're flipping.
We are gonna.
It's kind of like an interface for students to use, so it's more efficient for them to sell books.
Yeah.
Because normally it's kind of.
Because if you had to own inventory, that would be like a lot, like what those guys are doing. It'd be a lot of books that you have to own and store and ship and all that. But if you're just it's kind of like drop shipping, where you're just like.
And there aren't that many variables for you. Yeah. They Any other strengths, weaknesses, threats, opportunity? So when I said, the professors might change what textbook, that is an external. You don't have any control over that. And that would kill your business if you start to focus on one type of thing. Yeah.
Oh, you have a question right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so about like the flip business where you're like shipping it, isn't it? Could it be just a little risky? Because I know you have to cover, like my dad does a little bit of that. He has to cover like shipping costs and as well as like certain fees through like eBay or PayPal or whatever.
Yes, you have to do all of that. So they figured out what they don't buy every book. If a book is close to. If a book is being sold for $55 and they could only sell it for $60, maybe they don't buy that book. Maybe they only buy them when they can buy it for $15 and sell it for $60. Yes, you have to pay all those fees. That the idea that you can have an eBay business, that you can have an Amazon business. They're good ideas, but you have to look at all the costs. There are a lot of costs. That's how they make their money on their commissions.
So now we only have a couple minutes left. Could we open up for any questions about SWOT analysis?
We can keep going on different business ideas or just sort of in general. Yeah.
I'm so glad that you brought this up because I have a lot to think about my own business that we were talking about outside. So, my strengths with I have it's called Romero's Multi Services. I have maybe 1,500 clients. My clients base is growing, but it's just me.
Right.
That is a problem.
What do you do?
So I do everything. I'm a translator, life insurance. I help undocumented kids get into their schools, get their vaccinations, get people who can't get insurance. I do Obamacare November 1st, everybody. My appointments are free. People who don't know how to do it, don't have time to go to social services and do it. I also do food stamps, I do divorce, custody, child support paperwork. I help people with their licenses, their taxes, business tax. The list goes on and on. I do FAFSA, job applications, resumes. I make phone calls. I do IRS payments, installments. It's just the need of. There's a lot of people that don't know how to do it, or don't have time to do it. There's a language barrier, or most of these places just aren't welcoming, and they just don't want to go. I do all of that, and so I need a team. I've tried hiring people, but I think it's hard because I have to, too young, too old, like the pay.
Then you have to pay them, right? So
It's
team
the
is
pay,
always.
That's my weakness, like to make them stay. Like, okay, I will stay and do this work for this amount of money, and have them stay.
So
that's
let's
my
put on
weakness right there, and
let's put team on here.
yeah, and I can't say no. That's another weakness I have.
That's part of team.
Like right now, like my phone throws up, and I'm making appointments.
Yeah,
and then I'm just and then I have to find time to do the work.
Right.
And then I'm getting home late to my children.
So you have one asset.
Yeah.
And it's you.
Yes, I'm the asset.
And so that is your strength and that is your weakness. And if you get sick or whatever, so you should do a SWOT analysis of, how, what are the things you can control. So team is obviously like a really big issue for you because yours is a very personalized service.
Yes.
You get paid by the hour. And the only way for you to grow is for you to grow your team in a way where you have trust, where you've got a good financial structure so that you're making money. And I say with a business like yours that you grow at the speed of trust. And by the way, that's that usually does apply. A lot of people.
It does. So I don't spend any money on advertisement because all my clients are referred.
Yeah.
I get daily new clients every day. Why? Because they trust me. They know what I tell the truth. I'm not here to get, overcharge people. I charge what's convenient for them, what's convenient for me. And I'm not here to say, oh, yeah, I can do it, but I really can't.
Right.
Just so I can have the money in my pocket. That's dishonest. And so, I'm blessed with that, yes. My other challenge is I need a team so I can focus on my spare time to do other organizations, partner up with other people, expand my business, have more offices.
Right. Is anyone else?
Yeah.
Clearly, entrepreneurs' time is precious.
Yeah.
This takes time. How often should they do this, and when should they do this kind of analysis?
Well, I would say you should kind of put the frame in your head, like your Google Glasses, and every scenario that you look at, you should be like strengths, weaknesses, threats, opportunities. You should be looking at all of your customers, your competition, your decisions. Do I get a new space? Do I hire a partner? All of them should have that grid. Because when you're growing a business, it's complex. You've got all these inputs. So it's a good framework for just, kind of always in your mind. And then when you can, pull people in. And then, you have to be ready to accept feedback. Another phrase I have is, feedback is the breakfast of champions. So people who have successful businesses are able to take really real reality sandwich feedback.
You mean constructive criticism?
Reality sandwiches, whatever that looks like in your space. Because if you're always just going with your own, then you're never going to be testing your assumptions and you're never going to be tweaking and growing. So this is, the SWOT is not a solo sport. It's not a spectator sport. It is something that you should embrace and love and make fun, and it's a way to build your team. And it's a way to test yourself also, like how ready are you for this business? Because, businesses are hard.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
Ms. Vail was really helpful. Can we give her a round of applause?
Awesome.
So much.
Good.
Just to clarify one thing, most of the judges you see here helping with the workshops, like Ms. Vail, they are certainly happy to help you after the competition is over. So you will see Ms. Vail as one of the judges on the competition day. So just to keep the competition clean, she can't help you until competition day, but then she loves supporting our students after. There will be some hosts, some entrepreneurs hosting our workshops that are not actually on the judging panel, like next week, the attorneys that are here, so we'll clarify that, and so then you will be able to reach out to them. So she's going to be helpful, just hold that.
Good. No, that's a good point. And it's after the.
I was ready to ask for your number, your email.
Okay, well, she won't be able to help you guys before the competition, but I hope she's really helpful today.
Absolutely.
As we mentioned earlier, a lot of us didn't raise our hands when I had mentioned the paperwork, but I think it's going to be crucial for you guys to do the analysis for your projects or for your business ideas, so we have them for you. They're not mandatory. Again, they're definitely not mandatory, but I think they will be helpful for you.
Yep. So you guys can get all the help, knock yourself out getting all the help you want after the competition. But for now, we just need to thank Ms. Polly Vail for her time, and I know it was really useful. Now,
Let me just tell you, well, I can give this to Hannah, or you can take a picture of the book.
I even ordered it on Amazon.
Okay, good.
Okay. So guys, couple things. Either tomorrow or on Friday, we're gonna send out a follow-up email about this workshop, and we're gonna talk about the next workshop next week. And next workshop is gonna be legal workshop. We've never done it before in Raptor Tank, so you guys are the first group to have this workshop. And it's gonna be hosted by Lynn Perry Parker and Mr. Brian Nessie, both of whom you guys are gonna hear about employment law and intellectual property, both of which are very, very applicable to your business. Okay, and of course tomorrow or Friday's email, the follow-up email, I'll have attachments and some resources that'll really help you along for the next workshop. Okay.
If you feel like you missed something today, there's also going to be a video included. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, good.
And again, guys, please sign up for the group meet. And before you guys leave today, if you guys want to, you guys can take a picture of this as well. And if you have any other questions, you can come up to me and the other co-leads, and we'll help you out. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Great. I'll see you at Raptor Tank. Yeah. Thank you. Great to have you guys. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming. Yeah. Really good. Yeah, really good. Yeah.
What?
Thanks for doing it.
Oh, yeah, sure. How do you?
Always got it.
I should stop this.
I know. It is the most difficult thing. Oh, I will say.
We also have pancakes left.